Up next is Dave McKane, and his presentation is entitled, Hutchinson Saved My Life. Dave McKane arrived in Hutchinson as a foreign exchange student in the late 1970s. He immediately bonded with his host family and still visits regularly. He had no idea at the time how pivotal his moments in Hutchinson would be. He says it literally saved his life.
Okay, let's do it. It actually tried to kill me 15 seconds after I arrived. I was very much aware intellectually of what a basement was, but I'd never been in one. I never realised that when the light isn't on, it indicates that there may actually be stairs. I fell down these stairs, they thought I was dead. 16-year-old, and I'm still alive. I can just about get over that trauma. So why is a small place like Hutchinson so important? Why does it have an effect? I never had a birthday. Before I arrived, I never had a birthday. And thanks to Laurie Triffett, I also never had birthday candles that didn't go out. So I come to this house that has a 2-car garage, this house that has 3 people living in it, this house that has a microwave, this house that is just an astonishing place to be for me. I come from a very different place. A different place where 9 adults are living in a small house. 8 of them are along a terrace. There's no backyard. There's very little front yard to speak of. So I'm coming from this, and then I end up coming from a place that has 3 people to a room usually. We've got an indoor toilet, sure, but privacy is just something you don't have. And then I'm given a room. I'm given a room that I'm actually allowed to express everything that I want, my deepest desires, well, which mainly at that time was Olivia Newton-John. And I have to say, it's still one of my deepest desires. But I was allowed to express all those other things that back home seemed a bit strange. And this was the main reason why I was allowed to do that. Shirley Hoyt became my real mom. She was there for me. She showed her love by actually at 10:31 p.m. every night, curfew was 10:30, I could see her silhouette as I drove up. I was driven up to the house and I knew that she cared. I knew that she was there. The first time that anybody ever really cared about me. The second time that anybody really cared about me was when Carl Hoyt, my American dad, said this. Now this is an actual quote from Dad. He says, "We need to keep an eye on your underwear. You have to tell me if the diet change makes it different for you." And I didn't even know I had bowels, never mind that they moved at that stage. I first met this guy. This is my real brother. I have other brothers, but this is my brother. I met him in the back of a Chevy Caprice Classic in Wichita in 1978. 10 minutes later, we were the best of friends. We're still the best of friends. This man, I saw a quote today. I have to read this to you. When you find people who not only tolerate your quirks, but celebrate them with glad cries of "me too," be sure to cherish them, because those weirdos are your tribe. I was just a sponge. I came here and I met these wonderful people. Denise Westfall, I'm sure many people know her. The most amazing woman, the most loving woman, the most able woman, the most thoughtful woman, the most hardworking woman I'd ever met in my life. I loved her from the moment I met her. And I think everybody else who ever met her felt exactly the same. And I come to a place like Kansas, a small town, and I find these people. But I also find jobs. I found a job in a Wendy's, a little Wendy's. They didn't have the little bit at the front there at that stage. That was way back when. So I find out that things matter, that customer service matters, that customers are always right even when they're wrong. I find these things, these strange concepts to me, that you smile, you're grateful, and you move on. I had many friends, and on my last day before I left in July of 1979, I was going in to say goodbye to my friends in Hardee's, and I saw this. I'd never had my name written in lights before. I couldn't believe it. I had to run in and just get somebody to take a photograph of this. And this, to me, just tells everything about the place. So 10 years later, I finally come back. I come back on the train. I can't let go of the place. I'm calling every week. It's cost me $2 a minute to call. I know when Dad will be home. I know when Mom will be home from Panhandle Eastern. I know when Jeff will be home. I'm not sure they've ever forgiven me for all those phone calls. Well, I'm sure they had lots of other things to do. So I come back, and I keep coming back. But the reason I come back first is that I hear that Dad is very ill. I get the word on a Wednesday, I fly out on the Friday, and I have to go back home on the Sunday. That was in November 2008. And it just changed. Everything that had been suppressed came back. Mom and I watched Letterman. We didn't watch Johnny Carson anymore, he was gone. But she was getting ill. I would take her around, I would bring her around, she would show me off at McDonald's on 30th, she'd show me off in Ellendale as her Irish son. And I just kept coming back. She passed away 3 or 4 weeks ago. I managed to be here. So she and Jeff brought Kansas to me. And probably my proudest moment is when I say Kansas back home, this is what I'm told, and this is what they say. Kansas? And I go on about this wonderful place. I go on about how it's just an astonishing group of people who are just the salt of the earth, quite literally. Rob McGraw, my best friend from high school, 14 years old when I met him. I was 16. We're still the best of friends. And all of these people have encouraged me. All of these people have endorsed me. All of these people have come to me and said, you can do this. Whatever it is I set out to do, you can do this. And this is where it started. I wanted to capture this place, but I wanted to do it differently. I was looking in 2009 when I came back to meet Jeff again and give him some time. And I wanted to capture what I call my Great American Project, but I didn't know what that was going to be. But I knew it had to have windmills. I knew that. I knew it had to have farms. And at the end of 2009, I knew what I wanted to do. And for 5 years after that, I traveled thousands of miles around Kansas, around county roads, around gravel roads, looking for abandoned farmhouses. Those houses that everybody knows about, but nobody really takes photographs of. Because this is the history of Kansas. The people who helped me are in this place. So I wear a Kansas shirt. I sometimes wear an American flag, but mostly I wear a Kansas shirt. And the history of this place, the people of this place. And I have to read these last lines because this is something that is just so important to me. I have to get it right. I benefited from the best of America. I benefited from the best that Kansas has to give. I'm here this evening because of the open-hearted, generous people of this place. The very ones in this room and beyond who don't see anything special in what they do. But I'm here to tell you one thing. Special is precisely what they do, and they do it incredibly well. Sometimes they just need to be reminded of that. Thank you.